Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Expert Interview Series program, where we connect with talent acquisition professionals and hiring managers with valuable experiences to share their insights and practical advice with the job-seeking community. This morning, I'm really excited to speak with the talent sourcing lead and diversity, equity, and inclusion advocate at ON in Zurich, Marta Kondracka. Marta, thank you so much for joining this morning. Really excited to have you here. I know how much work and effort goes into making ON a diverse and inclusive workspace. And I was wondering if you have any advice that you can share to candidates that are perhaps coming from underrepresented groups, or those that didn't go to prestigious universities but still are as excited and motivated to build their international corporate careers. How can they stand out?
Absolutely. Happy to support. And of course, thank you so much for having me, Jana. We know each other for a few years now.
Yes.
Many years, actually, So happy to see as well how you've been growing your career. And of course, what you do now is so helpful because we are living in a quite complex world, and it's not so easy and straightforward as it perhaps used to be in the past, right? To build your career. Now it's definitely a bit more complicated, and with such a big competition on the market, right? Things are changing. So happy to share my insight. Thanks a lot once again to have me here. As you mentioned, I'm part of the talent team at ON. D&I topics has been always a big focus of mine personally and professionally. And I've been really lucky as well to work with diversity, recruitment, and sourcing strategies in the last almost 5 years. And we've been supporting interns, we'll be supporting people in their career transitioning, and we'll be supporting the BIPOC communities as well and securing their jobs, mostly their first jobs within the tech. So I actually been thinking about this question, and there are two, I would say, two insights from my end, and hopefully your community will find it as a valuable tip. First of all, it's a really good idea to find partners. If you're there on the lookout, you're trying to secure yourself an internship, or you're trying to get your dream job. And it doesn't really matter if we're speaking of big corporate companies or small startups. Finding local partners, such as, for instance, Girls in Tech Switzerland, women in technology, women in sales, Black tech communities, will help you to get to the network, will help you to meet the people. And, there's actually a cool research saying that 50% of us during the lifetime, we manage to find jobs due to connections and networking events. So never underestimate that small meetups, be there, go out there and really talk to the people, share your passion, share with them what you're looking for. Join as a volunteer, these organizations that I mentioned, they're constantly looking for new team members, and there you're able to secure yourself like a real role, within the marketing or sales mini department, and then you can really start building your skills that will be then transferable and useful in the organization that you're looking for. And finally, some of the partners that I mentioned, they're already collaborating with these big companies or companies such as ON, right? So it's really like a fast track to get to know the people and be there. An amazing opportunity because those NGOs, non-governmental organizations, they're so close to the innovative solutions. They're much closer than the organizations, right? Because the organization company, they're always, going through the challenges. But, these communities, they're really there close to the market, close to the solutions, innovations. So what I'm trying to say, go out there and look for the partners that will help you to find a job. Join programs as well, such as PowerCoders. PowerCoders is an organization that is helping refugees to find their first job in the IT. And let's be honest, it's a very in high demand skill So it's very attractive for the companies, but it's not so easy, right? There is this some sort of a biases now. It's changing slowly, but in the past, it was, mentioned that you have to ideally study computer sciences to secure your first job in the tech in IT. Not nowadays. It's a skill that you can learn, right? It might not be a rocket science, it really matter of your interest, passion, and I would say resilience. And it's a practice, right? So you're able to literally become whoever you want, within today's market. It's just a matter of really choosing. And I think here is the difficult moment to predict what kind of skills will be useful in the future. But here again, there are so many cool reports. The just like coming back to the question, second topic is to really work on building your CV and portfolio, your social media profile. So it's a really super important, because traditional recruitment is not working anymore, right? We are presenting ourselves through social media. Digital portfolios are highly recommended. Give you an example. I opened a role a few weeks ago. Within 1 week, we received 500 applications, right? So for companies such as imagine your resume have to be amazing. You have to be really targeted skills, and you have to stand out from the crowd. So I'm a huge advocate and believer in digital portfolios, where
Yeah.
you can add a bit more of your personality as well, right? Using the colors, the font, different types of fonts, and just present yourself a bit more differently than just a traditional resume. And finally, really train your confidence skills. I do believe that confidence is not something that we're born with. It's a skill, it's a training. So I do believe that nowadays confidence and presentation skills are so important. And if you're an intern, junior, just starting your career, or you're trying to, you're in the middle of career transitioning, you know, confidence will help you to get where you want to go, because yeah, it's really about how you present yourself, how you come across. It's really important. Why? Majority of companies currently that are hiring for very, diverse teams, diverse backgrounds, are working within the cross-functional collaboration. So there's a lot of communication skills, lots of collaboration with different stakeholders, with different seniorities. Therefore, that's as well super important. Yeah, I
Amazing.
think.
This is really amazing tips. Thank you so much. So, I mean, you said you'll share two, but you actually shared three, which is fantastic. So, starting with getting on the radar and joining the communities that can support you in your job search. And thank you so much for calling out a few names. I'll make sure to put them in writing for our community. And another one that you mentioned, which I really loved as well, having a strong digital and online presence. So not underestimate the power of social media when it comes to your job search, as well as digital portfolio. I love that you said, this is where you can actually show your creative self more, because with CV, sometimes it's how to say, perhaps easier to stay more, let's say, plain vanilla, but the portfolio is where you can really express yourself, which is fantastic. And confidence, definitely, it's a skill. I totally agree with you. And I guess in the very fast-paced corporate environment, communication skills are so key to convey your message effectively, to be heard, and to be seen as well, which is an
Absolutely.
amazing skill, not just for job search, but also for your career as you join the company. So thank you for all of these amazing tips. Great. And another one that I have for you is as a sourcing lead, you and the team are working on engaging passive candidates. And I can imagine that it's every candidate's dream to, get approached by the company. So what can candidates do to get approached by the company? How can they get on your radar?
Yeah, I think it's a hard statement that everyone will enjoy it. I think it really depends on the the type of the jobs we see, that tech that is in such a high demand, that type of a talent is sometimes tired, right, of getting this standard boring messages. That's why here at On we really work on personalized approach, and it's super important for us to really provide premium candidate experience. And I do believe this is a must-have to really be successful in the sourcing role nowadays, because like merge mailing it's absolutely not working anymore. Never been. It really depends on the approach, right? But hey, I think there are a couple of ideas from my end. First of all, definitely it's amazing to be recognized, right? Because it's your work. You're putting your time to invest in your LinkedIn profile, right? You're adding the skills. Many people, they would still underestimate the power of LinkedIn, And I know it's some sort of, nowadays we call it like a blue monster because there is no competition for LinkedIn nowadays, right? So it's a little bit sad, but it's still the most powerful tool. And look, I would never go into like analyzing the platform itself. It has pros and cons, but it's your door to connect with the people, right? So use it. And with this platform, I would definitely encourage you to invest into building your amazing LinkedIn profile. Starting with the introduction, right? Who are you? Where are you? What is that you're looking for? Like really 3 simple questions. So recruiter or hiring manager, because sometimes in some different organizations, for instance, here at On, our hiring managers, they have recruiter licenses, they can access LinkedIn and, literally look at your profile. You never know. So be ready, right? Introduce yourself properly. And really, with this introduction, you can help a bit to get a better overview of what is that you're bringing, and this is a nice I would say fast track approach, because then like going through the career here, it's super important to really write a little bit more about your responsibilities, adding skill sets, and then recommendations. I do believe are amazing way of being as well recognized through your LinkedIn profile. So I know it's a time investment, but it's worth it because there are many, many jobs that even if you look at the job description, there are some hidden skills, there are some hidden gems that the sourcing team is trying to find in your profile, right? So especially when you're building your career, when you're like trying to get an internship or you're a junior, it's as well super important, because it's relatively more difficult for you to secure yourself a job, right? But then if you're looking at changing your careers, where things are a little bit more tricky, because we are again living in this world where, especially in Switzerland, where ideally, you have this perfect career path. You've been doing same thing the whole life, and then recruiter can see, okay, there is amazing trajectory, and basically that person is a perfect candidate. It's an old school approach, There is another amazing research saying that, between 30 and 40 years old, we are thinking about changing careers, like 60% of the global population. It's a fact. We are human beings, we're developing, we're changing. It's impossible for us to do the same thing the whole for one lifetime. It's no, let's learn, let's build our skills, let's transition into new jobs. That's the beauty of this opportunities that we have as a human beings. But coming back to the LinkedIn profile, spend more time, really work on it. You never know who is looking for a candidate like you, and skills like you. Spend some time, listen, there's so many trainings, videos, tutorials. People really invested amazing amount of time to really take you through how to improve your LinkedIn profile. So I really, really encourage you for doing that. And finally, on top of just being selected to have a chat with the sourcer or recruiter, there are again lots of events or lots of partnerships where companies are looking for speakers or looking for candidates as well to come to the event, to be there. And this is a new approach, right? That you could be invited to come to the event, to meet the company in person, and then it's an opportunity to as well, present yourself. And finally, you might not be looking for a job today, but you never know what's gonna happen in the next week, year, 2, 3. Connections and the network that you're building through your LinkedIn, for the LinkedIn profile is some sort of your as well portfolio. It's a book of connections that then can lead you to find a job. As I mentioned, 50% of the jobs we're actually being referred, we're being recommended. So invest in the things that are maybe invisible today, but will, pay back in the future.
Great. Thank you again for such great tips, and definitely love how you said that people still underestimate, the power of LinkedIn, which is so important. It is your front window in your career, and exactly not just for your job search of today, but for the long term. And I think it goes really well, with the previous advice you shared about confidence, because sometimes I feel that maybe some people tend to, shy away from speaking up on LinkedIn, being vocal, sharing about their achievements, or even like reaching out to to peers or stakeholders for recommendations. So really, thank you so much for such a great advice, and also what you mentioned about programs and initiatives. Big companies are using this channel to attract candidate leads, which I think also not all candidates are actually thinking of when they get started with their search. So thank you so much for that. Great. And last but not least, obviously there is a lot of buzz around AI. And I'm really keen to hear does it actually affect your day-to-day operations? Did your workflows change in a new way? How did they change? And what advice would you share to job seekers that are navigating these changes within the recruitment world?
Yeah, absolutely. It's my favorite topic, and I myself spending lots of time as well to educate myself and taking new studies, because AI it's a new way of automating certain things. I can tell you that here at On, I spent a lot of time into implementing like a sourcing tools, Seek Out, Hire Easy, or CRM, that is GEM that we're using here. And we always look at that aspect of AI already 3 years ago, right? So I'm happy to see that I'm working for an organization that has implemented tools like that, so we can really play around. Even tomorrow, we're kicking off a tutorial of a new tool, and it's truly amazing. So I'm a big fan. In short, I'm using tools to automate my work, to automate tasks that were taking so much time, but then they're giving me really a quick solutions. For instance, building Boolean searches, easy peasy. Boolean search, for those who they don't know, it's a way of just like building keywords together to search for particular talent. So it's definitely a norm nowadays, and it's not gonna go away, right? I think there's a lot of controversy. Some people say it's not gonna change things. I do believe it will for sure. Now, from a candidate perspective, I think you have to be aware wherever you are in your career. You have to be aware. And here I encourage you to look at the future skills report on LinkedIn, for instance, or really educate yourself about how the future of a market will look like and what kind of skills will be required. But we have to admit that there will be so many, first of all, career transitioning, adding new skill sets, and that is including navigating AI and all the changes that will come. So you have to already, set up your mindset to be ready for a change, to learn new things, and really admit that AI will be real part of your job everywhere. From whatever tool it's gonna be, CRM, AI, it's gonna be there forever, and that's not gonna disappear. So for me, I think it's a big support and automation. For instance, we are using solution that is helping to take notes out of your plate. So it means that I have more time to build relationship with the candidate, right? And it's the same for the candidate. Maybe some of the candidates, they didn't like touch points with the recruiters because they were always, focused on typing notes, right? Rather than having this connection. So I think it's a nice opportunity as well for both of sides. And for but there are these tricky parts, and I think we should remember, especially when we work in the talent, that ethics and human approach, not always taking for granted solutions that AI will provide. There is lots of buzz around, and I think here are candidates, they feel a little bit, uncomfortable with the AI that is reviewing their resumes, right?
Yeah.
But actually, it's a norm, right? So here, again, like writing your CV with the keywords that you will find in the job description is so important. Here is what really matching, because here is AI in between, that is really matching you with the job. So super, super important to really acknowledge that fact. But finally, for the recruiter, never forget about the human touch and maybe having some diligence tests and always looking. For the job seeker, use the tools, be there, play around, look at the free solutions, look at the paid one as well. Don't be afraid of ChatGPT. Really play around. There was recently a new report in Poland actually for companies, and the question was, if you would you decide to hire someone more experienced or less experienced but with the AI skills? And lots of companies will go for less experienced people but with that skill set. So this is already it's a little bit concerning that the not seniority, but the most innovative skill is taking the way. But I believe this is the future as well. So again, if you're a job seeker, building your skill set portfolio is a must here, and that is expected. Whenever job you're having here, let's take a product manager, you have to add some skills on top of it. So you have to have knowledge of Salesforce or additional platforms or things like that. So, but it's a really fascinating journey, and just acknowledging it's there. It's nothing scary. It's up to us how we gonna use the tool. Tool itself, is not harmful. It's really up to us how we can really use it for our advantage.
Great. Thank you so much again for some really great points. And I love how, also tying it back to what you said earlier about, we are living in an ever-changing environment. So it is expected that we have to catch up eventually with all these new technologies and tools that are coming up. And as you said, AI is a tool at the end of the day and has to be used as such, then nothing to be scared of. So thank you so much for sharing some insights and also really behind the scenes how some things work from the recruit and sourcing perspective. Thank you so much, Marta. Really loved having a chat with you today and discussing all of this, trendy and hot topics in the recruitment and hiring space. I wish you all the best with your career, with your initiatives within the diversity and inclusion, within the sourcing at On. And I hope to see you again soon.
Thank you so much, Anna, once again for having me. Whoever would like to connect with me on LinkedIn and ask additional questions, just, send me an invitation. Happy to support. If you're based in Zurich as well, there's so many events happening. So there's always opportunity. Connect, so stay tuned. But hey, thank you so much. All the best. And yeah, keep in touch.
Thank you.